The castle loomed, a Gothic giant against the bruised Scottish sky. Glamis Castle, a place whispered to be more haunted than holy. I felt it as we approached, a cold breath on the back of my neck, an ancient energy pulling us in. We were a team of 3, brought together by curiosity and a hunger for the unknown. Dr. Emily Carter, the historian, a woman of logic and reason seeking answers in the past. Mark Jenkins, the journalist, a cynic armed with skepticism and a hunger for a story. And me, Zach Bagans, drawn to the darkness, seeking truth in the shadows. Glamis called to each of us in different ways. Dr. Carter to its rich history, its secrets buried beneath layers of time. Jenkins to the challenge, the chance to debunk the myths that clung to the castle walls. And me? I felt the pull of the unknown, the echo of forgotten screams. This wasn't just a case, it was personal. The iron gates groaned open like the jaws of a beast. We were in. The air inside the castle was heavy, thick with the weight of centuries. Dust motes danced in the slivers of sunlight that pierced the gloom. Dr. Carter traced her fingers along the castle's lineage, her voice barely a whisper.
Centuries of history soaked into these very stones.
History and hysteria often go hand in hand. Don't let the atmosphere fool you, Zach. It's just an old building.
I could feel the tension between them, the battle between logic and intuition, but I was drawn to something else. A presence. Faint but undeniable. It felt like being watched, hunted. We moved deeper into the castle. Each room we entered seemed to grow colder, darker. The shadows seemed to twist and writhe, taking on shapes just beyond recognition. I could feel my senses sharpening, my pulse quickening. Something was here, something ancient and malevolent. The castle was a labyrinth of winding corridors and shadowy chambers. Each turn seemed to lead us further into the heart of the mystery. We investigated the infamous room of Earl Beardy, a man said to have gambled with the devil himself. The air hung heavy with the residue of his rage.
Legend says he vanished. Some say he's still here, trapped within these walls.
Trapped, or simply dead and buried like any other man?
But I could feel it. A presence. Angry, tormented. It wasn't just the stories, the energy here was palpable, raw, unsettling. As we moved through the castle, I began to hear whispers. Faint at first, like the rustle of parchment, then louder, more insistent. They seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. Whispers of pain, of anger, of secrets long buried. The deeper we ventured, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. The air grew thick with dread. A palpable sense of fear clung to us like cobwebs. We reached a room sealed off from the rest of the castle.
The legend of the monster of Glamis, a deformed child hidden away from the world. A secret shame kept locked away within these walls. They say he's still here, trapped, enraged.
Jenkins rolled his eyes. More ghost stories, Zach? Don't tell me you're buying into this.
But I could feel it, a wave of sadness, of loneliness, and beneath it all a simmering rage. It was as if the very stones were crying out in agony.
That's when I saw it. A flicker of movement in the darkness, a shadow detaching itself from the wall. It moved with a grotesque, unnatural fluidity. I raised my camera, my finger hovering over the shutter button. Did you see that?
Dr. Carter was pale, her eyes wide with fear. But Jenkins just shook his head, dismissing it as a trick of the light. But I knew what I had seen. Something was here, something monstrous. We discovered a hidden door, concealed behind a tapestry. It creaked open, revealing a narrow stone staircase that descended into darkness. The air grew noticeably colder, thick with the smell of damp earth and decay.
A secret chamber, Dr. Carter breathed, her voice filled with a mixture of fear and excitement. What secrets could it hold?
Jenkins, ever the skeptic, scoffed. Probably just a wine cellar or a forgotten storage room.
But I could feel it. The energy down here was different, older, more powerful, and something else, a sense of anticipation, as if something was waiting for us down there. We descended slowly, our footsteps echoing in the oppressive silence. The air grew heavy, each breath an effort. The darkness seemed to press in on us, suffocating.
At the bottom of the stairs, we found ourselves in a small, rectangular chamber. The air was thick with dust and the stench of decay. A single flickering candle cast long dancing shadows on the rough-hewn walls, and in the center of the room, we found it.
An ancient chest, crafted from dark wood and bound in iron. It was ornately carved with strange symbols, their meaning lost to time. The air around it crackled with an unseen energy.
"This is it," I whispered, my voice echoing in the silence. "This is what we've been looking for."
Dr. Carter approached the chest cautiously, her eyes wide with fascination. "It looks ancient," she murmured, "but what could it contain?"
Jenkins, his skepticism momentarily forgotten, stepped forward. "Let's find out," he said, reaching for the chest's heavy lid.
As his fingers brushed against the cold iron, the candle flame sputtered and died, plunging us into absolute darkness. A cold wind swept through the chamber, whipping at our clothes and sending shivers down our spines. And then the screams began. They echoed all around us, filled with an unimaginable pain and terror. They seemed to be coming from everywhere and nowhere at once.
I could feel the hair on the back of my neck stand on end, my heart pounding in my chest.
"What's happening?" Dr. Carter cried, her voice tight with fear.
But I had no answers. All I knew was that we had stumbled into something ancient and evil, something that wanted us gone. The screams seemed to go on forever, echoing through the darkness. Then, as suddenly as they had begun, they stopped. The air hung heavy and silent. We fumbled for our flashlights, their beams cutting through the oppressive darkness. The chest sat in the center of the room, undisturbed. But the air was different now, charged, electric.
"What was that?" Jenkins whispered, his voice hoarse. For the first time, I saw a flicker of fear in his eyes. The skeptic had seen something he couldn't explain.
We left the chamber, the screams still ringing in our ears. We sealed the hidden door behind us, leaving the darkness undisturbed. Back in the sunlight, the castle seemed different, more menacing, as if it had revealed a glimpse of its true nature. We never opened the chest. We never spoke of what we heard that night, but the experience changed us. It chipped away at our skepticism, leaving us with more questions than answers. What secrets lie hidden within the walls of Glamis Castle? What ancient evils lurk in its shadows? Some truths are best left buried, but some stories refuse to stay silent.